Hello, Aunt Moore. It's the Lloyd and Friends show. And now here's your host, Lloyd Alderton.
Good morning. This is Lloyd Albriton on WBEJ, Lloyd and Friends, where we talk to interesting people. And today we're talking to a couple of interesting people that I want to introduce you to. I'm talking to a couple of folks here today not from Bruton, but in and around Bruton, with some interesting things to say. We're talking to Elder Tom Price and his wife, Sister Irene Price. These folks are missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and the missionary program that we have, because there's a lot of different things we do. So as we are what they call a senior couple. That's not because we're over the young missionaries, but it's just because we're seniors.
That's because you're old, right?
Yeah, we're old, right? That's it. We're just old. And so that's why they call us senior. And so when we retire and we want to go serve, then we tell Salt Lake that we want to go serve, and we get a call. We wanted to do something in family history, and so our mission president actually found out about us and requested. So yes, we came down here in 2015. We're here for a year and a half doing family history in the area down here, from here to the coast in Florida and all.
Okay. Now, when you say doing family history, what are you, making history or what?
That's a good question.
Because we used to have we was talking to one of my guests the other day about one of our old bandits. He held up trains and made history. You aren't going to do anything like that.
No, but they could be in my family history.
You got some train robbers?
Yeah, so really this is, what we refer to as genealogy, but we kind of have gotten away from the term genealogy, and instead we use family history. Genealogy is a real just definite connection. I have a name and a date, and I want to put that down, and I want to move on. But family history is taking it a step further. And once we find out that name and date, then we want to find out what else we can find. We want to see the family and where he lived and learn a little bit about his history instead of just, it's that kind of history as it relates to our families.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just picking on
you. You don't do that very often, do you?
Only every day. No, these guys are great people, and I've gotten to know them over the last couple of years, so we have a little bit of familiarity. In fact, I got to know Elder Price and Sister Price by attending one of their seminars. They do a series of seminars. Normally, you'll see the LDS missionaries riding around on bicycles. Maybe young fellas, or maybe some of the young ladies, but you're the senior couple type.
That's right. So we go around in a camper.
They don't hold you to the same rules. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And this is something you do after you've worked your work career and retired. Yeah. What did you do as a work career?
I used to what people used to ask me. They said, "Now, what is it you do?" And I'd say, "What do you need?" I was one of those that took me a long time to figure out. So over the years, I was a general contractor, residential construction, and then I was actually got into computers, and I was a computer programmer and network administrator for about 20 years.
And this was where are you from? You're from Idaho?
Yeah, originally from San Diego, and then we've been in Idaho for 40 years. So most of that was in Idaho. I started construction in San Diego, but then we did that. Then we started a transportation company, passenger transportation, that we didn't know if that would take off or do much, but so now out of Rexburg, Idaho, we actually own 106 vehicles. And this year we'll have about 330,000 tickets on our system. We travel 22,000 miles a day, so that's what I retired from, and I wanted to get a long way from there. That's a headache.
Well, what about you, Sister Price? Were you a stay-at-home mom, or did you have a career as well?
I graduated from college in special education and elementary education, and taught just until my first baby was born. And then I was a stay-at-home mom. I tutored from home, but I was at home. And we had 9 children, so I was really busy, but it was wonderful.
Wow. You Mormons now, I'm one. I also am one. So you Mormons, you believe in big families, don't you? And you believe in staying at home with them. Kind of.
Whenever possible. Yeah, you had something to say.
That was all.
Yeah.
It was just, if it's possible, you stay home. If you have to work, if you're a single mom, then you work, and the Lord blesses you anyway and helps you with your children.
Okay.
That's what, and we had made that decision because she actually had a better education than I did, and thought, what, does she go to work or me? And we decided, no, you stay home, you be at the crossroads with the kids, and I'll do whatever it takes. So put in a lot of hours to try to feed 11 people there, but it was worth it.
And the children are all grown and working and
Right.
And good.
Yeah, they're all good contributing members of society, we call it.
Good.
And we thought,
That's a success story right
yeah,
there.
it is.
So this mission that you're on now, you went on one mission for 2 years, and now here you are back right here in the same area, which is kind of unusual.
It is really unusual.
Kind of like you did this family history thing before, so kind of I assume you must have had unfinished work. Maybe you wanted to come back.
This, as far as doing it the way we're doing it here, it really is kind of breaking new ground. It's done within the church a lot, but we got down here and we have been really excited to see how many people love doing family history. So we decided that we would start working with the young missionaries and show them, train them how to do it, and help people start their tree. So we did that. And then we went to a library and just said, we do these presentations, and then we help people, give them one-on-one help to start their tree. So on our last mission, we gave 130 presentations.
130.
Yeah, to over 1,800 people came to those. And then about half of those would stay and do one-on-one help. So it was amazing. And so this time we're kind of up to the next level, because instead of just kind of covering this part of our mission, we're in what they call the Florida-Tallahassee mission, which goes from Tallahassee, Florida, over to, just this side of Pascagoula. And then it goes up to Dothan and Toxie, Butler County up there, or up in Butler. So it covers a large area. So this time we're traveling that entire area. So we'll be gone a week at a time and doing these seminars and training people along the way to do family history.
Are you still working with the libraries, or has that changed?
Yes, we are working with them. The presentation that we did now, because we can't get around to all of them like we used to, then, but yet so many people want it, that we actually videotaped that. The mission had that videotaped, and they put it on a USB for the young missionaries. So now, even wherever you are, whether you are right here in Bruton or whether you're over in Jay, then the missionaries will have access to that they can just get a small group and show that presentation on that, and then help people one-on-one. So that's one of the things we're doing to get to more people this time.
So where is that presentation? Is it on the internet or where?
No, it's not. All the missionaries have, they have access to that.
I see.
But
Okay.
it'll be kept within there because of copyright and things.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We don't know what to do outside of that.
Okay. So just now, I want to go back again just a little bit about you guys. How much does the church pay you to come out here and do all of this?
Yeah, you can answer that one.
We come at our own expense, like the young elders do. The young elders start saving by the time they're about 3. They get a bank account and start putting their pennies in to save for their mission. And couples do the same. They start saving for their mission as soon as they can. And then we never thought we'd be able to go on a mission actually as a senior couple, because we had so much debt with the bus company, and we always felt like we were on the edge of bankruptcy. and didn't think we would ever be able to come, but the Lord worked a couple miracles, and we recognized the opportunity, and so we were able to come.
Wow. It takes a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
Does it just happen then, huh?
No, because you do have to pay your own way.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to make that point and let you guys tell us. The church does not pay your way to do this. You do it.
We pay our rent and our food and all the utilities and our travel, and in fact, for the senior couple or the old guys, they say you need to make sure, in the paperwork it says you need to make sure you have a car that you can take into the mission field, because we don't provide one for you.
The young guys, the church owns cars that they provide, and the boys and girls they use them under strict. They have I might mention some mileage limitations, so they don't just drive in circles, but they have a strict mileage limitation, and but they don't make you guys ride the bikes.
But we can run as many miles as we want.
Okay.
We just pay the maintenance and fuel.
Now, you guys have a fifth wheel. You travel lightly, sort of out of your saddlebags, and you live in a little motorhome of some sort that you.
We live in a fifth wheel.
Okay.
Just up, in fact, in Goodway. Just
Out of Goodway. Okay.
Yeah. So we live in a fifth wheel there. And then once we came on our mission and we saw the number of people here that want to do family history, we have libraries that they would have us come every month if we could, but we just can't get to all of them. So they want us to come because we can really help them. Family Search, we use FamilySearch.org, and there's some great tools and resources to help. So yeah, that's what we do.
Now, you mentioned Family Search, so you're talking the internet here.
Yeah, right.
In times past, I know many years ago, my family, we used to do our family history on these big long sheets. And build our family pedigree and tree and so forth. And we used to go up to Montgomery and to the different courthouses and out to the graveyards and find stuff. I have to walk through the woods and find these grave sites, and we still do a lot of that. But it has made a lot easier, isn't it, through the internet?
Oh, yes. In fact, it used to take a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of travel to do it. My mom did it that way, writing letters to England and sending $5 and hoping you get a reply. But with the technology today, it's all changed. And there's a lot of sites. Family Search is the one that we teach and do, and we've been involved with teaching that for about...
Is there a fee for that, Family Search?
Absolutely not.
There's no fee, okay.
People can sign up free, and they won't get any emails. There's no advertising on the site, so it's a clean site. Nobody even trying to sell you anything.
Yeah, I got you.
And some of them, they have a 30-day trial. This one, there's no 30-day trial. You sign up, and that's it. And there's never a charge for it. So, but some of the amazing things that have happened now, we got to go back in history just a little bit. What we call Family Search International today used to be called the Genealogy Society of Utah, that actually was founded back in 1894, and they started gathering records back then. So all the way through, then that is now the Family Search International. They've done some online things before, but that was really to start bringing records together. I think a lot of people might know that Salt Lake has, up in the mountains, they've got a granite vault where there are some, in fact, I was looking at that earlier to see, and I can't remember what it was, but the number of records they have, there's like in that granite vault for protection, climate control, there's 2.4 million microfilms. Now each microfilm has hundreds and thousands of pages on it. And so all of these things have been digitized, and they've had that information. Now they're pulling that out and putting it online. So Family Search itself has 1.1 billion people in the tree. And then there's sources that you get. So what we're doing today with family history is we want it accurate.
Hey, listen up, all you spring gardeners. Did you know that now is the time to check your John Deere lawnmower to see if it needs servicing? Right now. Belts, air filter, oil filter, blades. Now, the Farm Center in East Bruton keeps most of these parts in stock. So why not get your mower tuned up now and ready for action when the grass turns green? Visit the Farm Center at 820 Forest Avenue at the intersection of Highway 29 and Highway 41.
Are you enjoying the show? Well, you better listen up. Did you know that you could be a sponsor of the Lloyd and Friends show? Well, you can. Business sponsorships are just $100 a month, and individual sponsorships are only $50 a month. So why don't you be a sponsor? Call my Papa Lloyd at 850-281-3233 to find out how.
Okay, now let's return to Elder Tom Price, who was just about to tell us how we get family history records to be accurate.
The way you get it accurate is once you get a person, you say, okay, which version of John Smith is this?
Is it Jon or John or
and
or SMY or SMI?
SMITHE, So all of these different variations, which one is it? So we're always looking for birth records, death records, marriage, census, and all of these records to tie the families together. That's what you can do now online. Before, right, my mom used to write to England and ask for a birth certificate for somebody, and hopefully she'd get that back. Well, she'd make a note of that, and great, she's got it. But nobody else in the world knows she has it. They're out doing their own research. In fact, they said that some 80% of all the research is duplicate research. Somebody else has already done it. But now we don't have to do it again. You and I, if we're related back, 8 generations, 6 generations back, whatever you put in there on my relatives, I've got them. You got the stories on there. Now I go in and wow, I see those stories that you put up. So those are some amazing things that are happening, and then being able to do a lot of the research.
Now, what if you change something of mine? Let's say that Grandpa Moses was my great-great-grandpa, right, and I had him born in January 3rd, 1810, and suddenly I go in there and you've changed that. Can you do that? Can you go in there and change my date?
Yes.
You can.
I can go in and
How does that
change your
work?
dates. Well, as long as we're all good people and we try to help each other, it works okay. Because when I go in and change it, I change it for a reason. Now, it does ask why I changed it. Now, when you go back in and see that that it was changed, you not only see that it was changed, but you see why I changed it, and that I'm the one that did it.
Aha! So I can get a hold of you.
Yes. So then
say, why'd you do that?
And say, oh, here's his name. You click on my name there, my screen name, and and you type a message to me and say, gee, this and this and this. So then we start working back and forth. And so
well, it sounds like a great way for distant family members to get to know one another.
My wife tell her about Norway and New Zealand.
I met a great cousin online because of this. I haven't ever met her in person, but she actually lives in Norway, and she's working on the same Norwegian line that I have. And so we figured out that we were cousins. And so when I have a question about a Norwegian place, like, where is this compared to that? And does it make sense that my ancestor was born here or there? And she'll tell me, and well, how do you translate this? And she'll tell me. And so it's great working back and forth. And I met another relative that I asked her a question, and
about a Norwegian, on your Norwegian side?
And she answered back, and she's actually living in New Zealand, and so she's helping me from New Zealand. So I've got one helping me from Norway, one helping me from New Zealand, just because we're all working on the same line together. And they want it to be a single world tree so we can get the accuracy by working with each other. So the family search site that you are talking about is sort of a dynamic site that's constantly evolving and changing. So now, what if I want to what if I don't want you messing with my tree? What would I do?
I can have a desktop or a separate program that's compatible, and I can dump all of that into my personal desktop, Roots Magic being one I know of, and there are others.
You can take it and end up through Roots Magic, Legacy, some of those others, and even upload them and onto Ancestry and have your private tree there. So there's a lot of ways for us to do it and maintain a backup. And some people have trouble with people changing their trees, so they want to do that. Now, I really haven't had that kind of an issue.
I haven't either. But
So, if it becomes
but initially I didn't like that. And when they changed this, I initially went in and saw my stuff. It kept changing, and I said, "What are they doing?" Until I called, and I said, "Why is my stuff changing?" And they said, "Well, we've changed it to make it more dynamic, so that people are working together." So now but I want to ask you. You mentioned this other organization, Ancestry. A lot of people are familiar with that. Tell us just a little bit about how does that fit in with Family Search, or is that just a totally different thing?
They're different, but they're partners. You know, if you look at statisticians, I didn't do too bad on that, huh?
Okay.
Say that there's been about 69 billion people that have lived on the earth. If anybody thinks that Family Search is going to have every name from every corner of everywhere, that isn't going to happen. So all of these sites really have come together, and I think Family Search was kind of a melting pot for them to come, and Family Search has agreements with a lot of these other companies, and they work together.
Okay.
Ancestry has great tools. If I can't find anything, my first step is to jump over and go to Ancestry and see what I can find there. And I may find a record there that I couldn't find on Family Search, and maybe it's because it was spelled different, but I'll find that on Ancestry. So they're great resources of My Heritage, Find My Past, all of these. They're good sites. Well, the big difference is that single world tree. On Ancestry, you can have your own private tree. In fact, I was reading, and I think
Nobody messes with it.
right, nobody messes
On
with it.
Ancestry, you can do that.
It's
Okay.
yours. So the difference is, Family Search they want a one world tree. It's only one tree out there, and eventually we're all going to be on that tree.
How about that?
Okay? Whereas Ancestry has some 4 million, it's either 4 or 40 million trees, separate trees. Well, you go find that, and you can find your great-great-grandfather out there 40 times with 20 different pieces of information that don't fit.
Right.
So as we work together, because this same ancestry you were talking about, we're related and I've changed, well, now you say, oh, but Mr. Price, I've got the birth certificate. We got the family Bible. So this is it. I said, great, let's get a picture of that.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
So,
and if you don't know how to put it up there, let's get it up there. And then, but I had a bunch of pictures on him. In fact, I just heard from somebody the other day, found me on there and said, gee, I saw you change this, and I saw that you're working on the Longmore line. And I said, well, yeah, my grandma was Grandma Longmore. You know, she married a Samuelson. And he said, oh, that line, he said, well, you know, Dr. Charles Longmore, you know, born in the early 1800s. I said, yeah. He said, I have got a bunch of pictures. I've got one. I said, help me out here. You know, so he's got all these pictures, so we're working together now to get.
and you can put those pictures in the site as well. You can share the pictures.
That's right. And then
Wow,
anybody
that is-
that goes there can see all those pictures.
And the stories.
And the stories. Yeah. Yeah, you can do audio now too.
You can put a little audio clip
Yeah.
right in there.
You can take an audio clip. So if you've got somebody, you know, if you've got somebody that's in their 90s that still has it together, that has got some stories, you want to get that on audio. Just ask a couple of questions and get that on audio. In fact,
Especially stories.
yes.
Storytelling is an art,
Yeah.
especially here in the South.
Yeah, and that can be put online and attached to them. So anybody, after they pass away, anybody can go in and they can still hear Grandpa tell that story.
Wow, that is so phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is.
Now, as far as documentation, you know, these documents that we used to go out to the courthouses and look for, Those you can find them on Ancestry and Family Search.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about birth certificates, draft records, immigration, just myriad
Yes.
of different documentation. You can pull up the actual document
Yes.
because people have gone out and taken photographs of that
Yeah.
and documented it.
The other big thing that Family Search does is they have what they call indexing. So there are other senior couples, old missionaries.
Old people,
I guess,
yeah.
Old folks. They go out and they're given an assignment to be what they call record preservation missionaries. So they go out and take pictures of, cities, counties, states, other countries all over the world. And then those get put in batches back in Salt Lake, and then people index them. So somebody looks at that image that somebody took, and then they take the information off that image and type in the name and date and the birth date, the information on there. So next time you go in and type that person's name, it'll come up and you click on the image and you go look at that original birth certificate that has been copied there. So yeah, in fact now the tree is just getting more and more accurate because there are over 800 million sources attached to these people on Family Search now.
800 million. Now, just to make sure, because I mean this is mind-boggling. We go out and we take pictures of all of these documents.
Right.
We don't just throw them on the internet for people to use quite yet. At first, we have to sort it all out and make sure that it's accurate. And so there's this process that you refer to as indexing, to where two or three people maybe would look at the same record and say, well, here's how I see, because most of these are handwritten.
Yes, a lot of them are.
A lot of them are handwritten. Well, what I see is John, Jon. Well, what I see is Jim. And then we have to sort it and figure out what is the right record. And there's a lot of work to be done with this indexing before we can ever make it available to the general public.
Right.
And there are billions or billions of these records that have to be done. And so let me just ask you about this indexing real quickly. Now, sounds like there might be a need for indexers, people to do this.
Absolutely. In fact, Family Search estimates that they have, of these records back there, of all kinds of records, that they probably have about 5.5 billion records. But of all of those that have been, where the pictures have been taken, where they've been digitized, that have actually been indexed, only about 30% have been indexed. So yes, anybody that wants to do indexing, get in touch with us too. We can show you how to volunteer, because you do that from your computer at home.
And anybody can do that. They don't have to be a member of your church or anything. Anybody can do that.
That's a great thing. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. In most areas, in fact, even in Salt Lake City, the larger, the family history library there, over 70% of the people that go there, they're not members of the church. When you go to all these family history libraries, like one in San Diego, where I'm from, and
big, huge conventions. Yeah.
They have got 70% of the people that work in those, that volunteer in those, are not members of the church. This is a worldwide, because it's a family event. That's why we do it, which I know we haven't even touched on that.
No, we'll have to speed it up, I guess, if we're going to get in our. But I wanted to make that point because of how extremely important this indexing is. They could contact you, and we'll give your number out in a minute, or they could go to the Family Search site, and I believe there's a little label there that says "Become an Indexer" or something. Do you want to be an indexer? And you can sign up for it right there. Just sign up for it, and they'll send you batches and say, okay, here's your first batch, here's 3 people or something, and you can begin.
We really want you to contact us, or if you see the missionaries around the white shirts and badges, to ask them.
How to become an indexer, whatever.
Because we can help you and take a lot of the frustration out of getting started in that, because you have to wait around a little bit. So if you want some help, boy, contact us. We'd love to help you, because we need. Last year, I think they said there's about 350,000 people that volunteered last year to index. And
all right, this is a good spot. So anybody who's interested in indexing or interested in learning more about family history, Can you give your phone number out, or is it a secret?
My email.
Her email.
I've got your email right here. Okay, here's your email. Price Irene, Price, Irene, Irene. That's all together at yahoo.com. So if you'll send an email to Brother and Sister Price and tell them you're interested, they'll tell you about this family history. That's their love, and that's what they're. Hello, this is Lloyd Albritton, inviting you to read my book, Baby Blue. Baby Blue is a fictional story, a crime drama, a family saga, if you will, set in the real life Escambia County of 1951. Many local readers, however, say the story feels real to them, with some even proclaiming that they know the unique Southern characters in the story personally. Well, it is a fact that I grew up in Escambia County, and I've written hundreds of stories over the years about the characters and places I've known here. Many of these stories are included in my second book, a collection of stories and poems entitled The Albritton Letters. You can order my novel, Baby Blue, or my short story collection, The Albritton Letters, at my personal website. Just type www.babybluedistributors.com into your internet browser and place your order. Now, you can also order my books at Amazon.com in either hard copy or electronic download. But if you order from me directly, I will sign and comment in every copy sold. So why not place your order today for my novel, Baby Blue, or my short story collection, The Albritton Letters, or both, at www.babybluedistributors.com. You're going to love them. I guarantee it. They're pushing.
One reason indexing is so important is because when you search for a name, the computer can search for names, but he can't go and search pictures. So it has to be typed in the database so he can search for it. We've got lots of pictures on there, but it's going through each one where the computer can search for it if it's been indexed and just come up with it in seconds.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about what you try to get back to where we started. It's what you guys are doing here on your mission. Now, tell us a little bit about this seminar and what are you trying to accomplish now?
Okay, so March 10th from 4 to 6 p.m. we're going to do a presentation with one-on-one help afterwards, and the address for that is in Milton, and it's 5737 Berry Hill Road. It's at the church there in Milton. So we'll do about an hour presentation and then an hour of one-on-one help. And everybody's welcome, and it's free, of course, just like everybody.
So you got the computers all there, or they can bring their laptop or whatever?
They can bring a laptop. We have 11 or 12 computers that we take with us.
I got you.
For people
Okay.
that don't have it. And also, anybody, if we hear from you and we've got, 2, 3, or 4 people that here in Bruton that want to do it, contact us, and we'll make sure we or the missionaries or something, we'll do one of these public events there. Just find a location, we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. We also, genealogical societies and larger organizations, we're also available to come and speak to them and talk about what we do. And we're asked to do that quite a bit.
And one thing we might add is that because of privacy laws, nothing on a living person on the Family Search site ever shows to anybody except the person that put it in. So you put in yourself and your children and your parents, and if you're all living, nobody can see it except you. Once they're deceased, that becomes public record, and everybody can see it and research it, but all the living information is held private, so you don't have to worry about
That's good to know. Yeah.
being stolen,
Very interesting. That's good to know. Okay, so nobody's going to get but if a person's been dead for a long time, you'd get the information. But if you're sometimes wondering why, say if you're my first cousin and you put something in there and it's not on mine, that's because you're still living.
Right. Yeah.
So I won't be able to see
there,
that.
but I can't find you on there, and I
Right.
can't find your family relationships or
Right.
anything.
That's because it's privacy laws.
Yeah. The other thing, I don't know how much time we have here.
Go ahead. We can go another 10 minutes or so.
I want to go back to even why we do this.
Okay.
I think that comes up a lot. And say, okay, why would we come this far away to do this? Why do we spend so much of our time and energy and our money at our expense doing this? And it really comes back to the family. You mentioned earlier about family. We have 9 children. Well, obviously family is important to us. Well, not just them. The listeners out there, they have families. That's what's important. Today, the family is really under attack from all sides. We raised 9 kids. Raising the kids the way, our youngest is 24. Raising them today is completely different than it was 25, 30 years ago.
Yes.
It is hard. The reason we do this is Bruce Feiler is, he does a lot of writing, and he writes about and has studied the family, about what makes families successful, why do some families make it and some don't, and he's done a lot of work for the last decade on that.
What, if some fight all the time and others seem to get along? Yeah.
And some of that's normal, but okay, but we make up at the end of the day. We're okay.
Yeah, right.
And what he talked about, he found this study, and he talked to those that did the study. Well, a study had been done by these 3 men saying, why is it that some youth, when they have challenges, good things are going along fine, and all of a sudden dad loses his job, or mom dies, or whatever happens, and some of those youth are resilient and bounce back, and others aren't. And they kind of fall off the radar screen, and they get themselves in trouble. And this study pointed out that those children that knew more about their families did better and were more resilient and would come back. In fact, they said it was the #1 predictor of a child's happiness, and knowing that families can function properly if they knew about their family. So the more we talk about family and the more we do, then because something inside of us changes when we do family history. We realize that we are part of something much bigger than we are. There's something else. My dad, for instance, he's one of those. He went through the Depression. He was 12, 14 years old, but his dad was self-employed. The people couldn't pay their bills. He took out bankruptcy. They had nothing. So my dad goes and gets a job mowing lawns and making 5, 10 cents a week. And that money goes to dad to help buy food for the family. They didn't have the Walmarts. They didn't have everything that we have today, the transportation, no air conditioning. They didn't have any of that. And yet they got through and they were happy. So if we can, our feeling is, as we see people and bring the family closer together, and family history helps do that because we become part of that group. And it changes our hearts. In fact, biblically, it talks about Malachi turning the hearts of the fathers to the children and children to their fathers. And as that happens, we become closer to them and we become stronger. So if we can change the individual, we can strengthen the family. Strengthening the family strengthens the community and the nation. So that's why we even do family history. And really the #1 reason that we look at is to bring those families together to function better.
If we know that we're part of this intergenerational family, and Grandpa did hard things and Dad did hard things, well, I have this trial in my life, but I can do hard things too because I'm in this family too. And so that was what was actually 3 research companies that did the study found was the #1 strengthening thing for the children was if they knew a lot about their families. So we need to talk about those family stories. And that's why family history is more important than just the genealogy, just the names, dates, and places. We need to know the stories.
In one of your seminars that I attended, you showed a little film with these little children. It was real cute, where they asked them about what was genealogy, and they said that how to spell genealogy, and none of them had any idea what genealogy is. But when you ask them what family history was, they knew. And, as you talk about these stories, I had an opportunity when I was growing up to live near my grandparents. We always lived a stone's throw from my grandparents, and many times that I would go sit on the front porch with my grandfather, or the back porch, or work with them, working on a fence or something. And my grandfather would tell these stories, and I would ask him questions. I heard this about so and so. Did you know him? Oh, I knew him. Yeah, he was a pretty good fella, and he would tell a story about that. But these little children, this guy, Felter, what was his name? Filer, that you referred to a minute ago. Yeah. One of the things, I watched that little film that you had referred me to, that he pointed out was that what binds families together is not the birth dates and where he's buried and when he died. People aren't that interested in that kind of stuff, although that's very important. What really interests them are the stories. Something Grandpa did or Grandma did, and this is what binds family together, and as you say, makes them stronger. Is that?
And I think another thing that came out in that video clip and what Bruce Farley talked about is they're talking about families, but yet he said it didn't make any difference if they're biological or adopted. He said one of these researchers has adopted kids, and he says it has nothing to do with biology. It's just that a family is a group that gets together and works together. And so whether you're adopted, foster, it didn't make any difference. Use that as the family, and you can strengthen that unit.
We have family reunions in my family. Do y'all have family reunions in your family?
We do.
I love those family reunions. I always take my pad and pencil with me because I'm always running into somebody that's come for the first time, a distant cousin or something, and I just sit down with them and get all the names so I can go back later and make these connections. But do you think a lot of our young people are not, they're boring. They don't want to go. So mom and dad is not making them go. And I noticed that in our reunions, we're still going along pretty good, but I see absent a lot of our young people coming to these family reunions and gaining. Now, I used to hate it when these old ladies would hug my neck, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I remember a lot of them because they hugged my neck. I remember Aunt so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so. You remember, she's the one that hugs your neck every year. But do you think it's important, family reunions, and for the young people to start to attend these things? Not just for the dinner, but maybe they'll meet somebody interesting.
I think it's very important, and one thing that interests the young people is the technology part of putting memories up on the Family Search site. Now that you put pictures, you put stories, and you put the audio. So you go there with questions, interview questions, and ask Grandpa, what was it like when you were little with your dad? What was Christmas like when you were little? These questions that you've prepared ahead of time. And then he can talk, and then you put that up online and put it on his site. And they're real interested in that technology part, and they could help us adults a lot with that part of it.
And I think some of it is, we need to be a little careful as the seniors. We need to be a little careful, and just because we have a grandson there, we don't have to give him our version of the story, but we can tell him a 2-minute version that will keep his attention.
Right.
And he will remember that. So I think that's one thing we do. Our family, we had a lot of family reunions, but then as the family moved all over, we've got them all over the place. So we really don't have an extended family we get together with now, but we certainly do our family. So we get all of our children and our grandchildren, and that's where our family reunions have restarted. We've been doing that for the last 17 years, or I guess almost 20 years now. 20 years, we get together on New Year's. Everybody wants Christmas, Thanksgiving. We said, fine, we'll take New Year's, and we do a 3-day party for New Year's. Start the 29th, 30th, 31st, and go home on the 1st. And the family reunion starts at Costco, about $1,000 in food, and 26 grandkids and 9 kids and their spouses. We have a lot of people. and it is 3 days of just fun. And the cousins, our grandkids, love it because they get 3 days uninterrupted with their cousins that they don't always see, that they're really close to.
Well, I don't think any of us would argue with the fact that in our culture today, the family is under attack, and that a lot of family values are diminishing, and it's causing us a lot of societal problems. So family history, it's about family, right?
It's about family.
Family history is about family, and the more we learn about family history, the stronger our family gets. And so, well, that's a pretty good objective.
Yeah.
So let's give your contact email one more time. Price, Price, Irene, Irene. How come it gets to be in her name? How come she gets to have the email and you don't? I'm just kidding.
Do you want a response?
Not all right. That's Sister Price, Irene. Sister or Price, Irene, Irene at yahoo.com. Shoot the Prices a email and let them know you heard the program. And if you need any information from them on indexing or family history, or you want to set up a seminar in your area or your church or wherever, it doesn't matter.
As long as there's a family involved, we're okay.
It's family stuff. I think we're pretty much all on the same page with that. So give them a call. They really are quite knowledgeable and skilled in this. And I talk to people all the time that just don't know which way to turn. So here's an opportunity for you guys to help them out. Thank you, Elder Price and Sister Price, for coming and visiting with me today in my little home studio. And we'll have the program on the radio, and hopefully some folks out here in the Bruton area will enjoy it. This is Lloyd Albritton saying thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Lloyd and Friends Show with Lloyd Albritton.